of the split and fall of the Roman Empire. Right? And so to talk about this, we have to go to an emperor that we've talked about before, which would be Diocletian. So some of you guys did this in your Roman emperors activity in class before school ended, but Diocletian is the emperor known for dividing the empire into two, a western and eastern half of the empire. He thought this would be a good way to kind of make it easier to control. He thought the empire was too big to control for one ruler. But conveniently enough, Diocletian takes the wealthier and stronger part of the empire, which is the eastern part, and he gives the western part to another ruler. And so something he tried to do was try to help inflation, right, which is the rapid rise in the price of goods. So when the price of something like bread increases, but wages don't, right, and so it becomes more expensive to buy the bread. So he tries to stop and prevent that from happening. And so we have this map, right, of the empire being split in half. The eastern half is in orange there. Take a minute now just to find the city of Byzantium. Byzantium is in the eastern half of the empire, and it is going to become the new capital of the Roman Empire once a man named Constantine comes to power. Right, so Constantine, another emperor that might sound familiar to us, comes to power in the year 312. And he's really most famous for two things: granting tolerance, I should say, to the Christians, right? So he stops the persecution of Christians, and eventually he himself converts to Christianity, becoming the first Roman emperor who is Christian. He also moves the capital away from the city of Rome back to Byzantium. So look at the map here, right? He moves the capital out of the Western Roman Empire and into the Eastern Roman Empire. When he does this, right, he really kind of essentially is giving up hope on the western half, right? The eastern half is more wealthy, more powerful. It's the better place to be. So he moves the capital to Byzantium, and because he loves his name so much, he names the capital. He renames it Constantinople, the city of Constantine. So when he does that, right, the Western Roman Empire essentially continues to decline, while the Eastern Empire actually thrives, actually gets better. And so the immediate fall of the Roman Empire in the western half of Europe, right, it's important to know that when we talk about the fall of Rome, we're talking about the fall of the western half of the Roman Empire. So places like Spain, Gaul, Britain, Italy, parts of North Africa. But the kind of direct results, the direct effects that lead to the fall of the Western Roman Empire is military invasions. So the empire is weak, right, to begin with at this point in the West, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But excuse me, it's these military invasions that kind of eventually lead to its decline, right? And so first you have a group known as the Huns. You might know Attila the Hun, who's a famous member of that tribe, leader of that tribe. They had migrated out of Asia into Europe, right? And when they do that, they set up a chain of events, right? They pillage and attack all the different Germanic tribes, which are tribes of people that speak German, and so forces them to leave their territory and go into Roman territory. So this chain of events, you have the Huns go into German territory, the Germans then go into Roman territory. Some examples like the Visigoths, the Goths, and the Vandals are some examples of Germanic tribes. The Vandals, that's where we get the word vandalism from. When they invade and attack the city of Rome, they vandalize it, right? They destroy it, they pillage it. So that's where we get the word vandalism from. And so by 378, the Germanic tribes are defeating Rome throughout the empire, throughout the western half of the empire. And by 410, a Germanic general named Alaric overruns the city of Rome. Then comes Attila the Hun, eventually moves into the Roman Empire as well. And finally, by 476, you have the definitive end of the Western Roman Empire because a man named Odoacer, a German, claims the throne to Rome. Right? So that's the kind of the direct way that Rome ends, right? But that doesn't mean that things weren't going on and that it wasn't getting weaker to begin with beforehand, right before this. And it was, right? So real quick, here are a map kind of visualizing where these different tribes are coming from. So you can see the purple line here are the Huns, right? They're coming from what looks like Russia now, but before that, further east into Mongolia and China. They're coming in, and they are attacking Germanic and Roman territory. So then people like the Visigoths and the Vandals, right, are leaving their German territory and going into parts of the Roman Empire. But here we have the kind of a chart here explaining the different aspects of the decline of the Western Roman Empire, right? So we have four different categories here: political, social, economic, and military. So what I want you guys to do, this is going to be kind of where your assignment now comes in, is you're going to take a look at this chart, which I'll also post in the Harbor, and you're going to choose one bullet point from each of the categories: political, social, economic, and military. And I want you to kind of pick one of them for each, right, and write and explain what that even means and why that would cause the empire to fall or collapse. So that is kind of the activity associated with this, and that'll be posted in the Harbor for you guys to do.